in the Challenger Series playoffs actually stepped it up a lot and was doing a lot better. So we'll look to see if he can continue that trend going forward.
Let's see what they have for picks and bans here, Azael, as we get into it. Sivers going to be locked out. Looks like they want to take any real potential engage or disengage away from Team Impulse with that. Also puts Mash on a safe AD carry for himself. Rise, we saw that being played just a little bit ago as well in our previous matchup. And the Nidalee, still finding a way onto the ban list.
Yeah, definitely want to take away the Nidalee from Eve. And Eve was someone who was absolutely destroying the Challenger Series playoffs.
Yes.
He went 3-0. He had an almost 96% kill participation, 11.5 KDA over the 3 games he played in the playoffs. So you don't want to give a playmaking jungler to a player like Eve.
Nope. He is one of the guys, and very cool that having that much potential in the jungle, having that much strength, but knowing that it's okay to let Shrimp do that as well. Something we'll have to mention throughout the series is that they can swap through that jungle position. And while Eve is very good, he has no problem allowing Shrimp to play in tight situations. It's an awesome camaraderie thing there. Poppy on the ban list with Azir, and then Corki. What are we looking for here for first pick, probably?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You know, we've seen a lot of priority towards like Ekko now. Like Ekko has been a very high priority.
And always left up.
Yeah, and
always
I mean, you know, people are still kind of, I think, feeling like Poppy is more the tip-top tier.
Right.
And now, you know, we have like champions like Ekko and Gragas and stuff that are just a little bit below that. Looking like, you know, thinking about the Graves that's going to get locked in. And Graves is a nice flex pick, can go top lane, can go jungle, so solid first pick overall.
I'm excited for that. We've seen Keane do some dirty things on that Graves with his mid build. Ekko and Kindred picked up. Tells me, hey, we still want to fight. The silver pick would have just been cooler here.
Yeah.
Tip going with that.
Yeah, so it is that kind of just below top tier Ekko pick. Ekko is very, very strong. The base damages are very high. It allows you to just kind of build tanky, very disruptive. You can be a playmaker. Kindred, top tier jungler as well.
Impulse looking very aggressive in their picks here, knowing that the last 4 games, TSM, Cloud9, Renegades, Immortals, losses, and then that tiebreaker versus Renegades. So they're looking to kind of start maybe with something new here and see if they can get the aggression going right off the bat. Jhin and Karma locked in on the other side for Apex, really kind of not pushing their boundaries, but just picking right away and getting, seems like, what they want.
Yeah, I mean, Karma has kind of been the new replacement for Lulu, and it's really, really strong, especially running with these double AD carry comps. You have AoE shields, kind of engage, disengage, good poke, so definitely a strong overall champion. And
right.
Looking like, you know, both sides are going to be running that double AD carry.
Slowly locking in now for Tip. They're going to take it down to 10 seconds. Show the Heimerdonger love, but go with the Braum Lucian. So a good lane, like we said, if Mash wants to be aggressive with that mentality, he can. Braum Lucian, it's kind of a taster's choice lane. Lock in there.
I mean, it's a classic, right? The Lucian's passive, in addition with Braum's passive, you're able to proc the stun so quickly. You know, Braum adds a lot of team fight presence, especially, you know, double AD carries. You can proc that stun very, very quickly. Yep. Good engage, good peel. So pretty standard stuff across the boards here. And now, you know, this is where Apex is going to have to like show what their full plan is. They haven't shown too much just yet, but you know, hovering the Maokai, the Elise, definitely something that could make it much more tanky.
Cris on that Maokai. He's actually been playing quite well, and speaking with Zyrene, kind of as he's been through going through the Challenger Series this whole time, says Cris in the end has been kind of going more towards the way of tanks in these matchups, so we may see that. Eve, very much a carry jungler on his Elise, on things that are aggressive, so they can throw that in there.
Yeah.
We already see the damage in the picks already.
Yeah, and it's looking like it's going to be Maokai support, so this is actually pretty cool. And
you're right.
People were talking about this is something that could come out, you know, with the recent Maokai buffs, with the MR per level and the base MR. It allows him to be a little bit more healthy in lane. He has pretty good like lockdown gank assist, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you have an Elise coming in there, you W root him into a free cocoon. This is something that's a really powerful and almost unstoppable point and click type combination. So this is the first time I've actually seen this in pro play. It will be pretty interesting to see what happens. I mean, unless something really weird happens.
I mean, they flexed it on me, and I can see all 5 picks in front of me.
Yeah.
I wonder what Tip is thinking. No, they got it. Looks like the Lulu, as we said, you know, the Karma's been picked up a few more times because of that, but the Lulu's still left up, and she will be locked into this game. How will they decide to switch this around? Is it going to be Karma support Graves bot or Graves mid?
Graves mid.
So they do switch it up. So you got me excited.
Yeah, I got a little bit excited there too. I was thinking Graves was going to be going to the top lane, but it is going to be mid lane
I
Graves.
wouldn't have put it by him because we see Xpecial still being somebody who goes back to the Trundle, goes back to the tanky supports and that such. So, you know, it could be something they pull out in the later games. We can hope now.
Yeah,
we'll put that on our hope list.
And I mean, Keane was something that he did play before. You've called that out. It's not something that we've seen in LCS that I've seen as far as mid lane Graves. Will be interesting to see how that does work out. And I mean, right now, Cris is sitting on Ignite, which would be pretty interesting if he doesn't actually swap that up.
Go for an early kill pressure on the top lane, possibly to shut down this Ekko if that does stay. And it looks like he will keep the Ignite on that top lane. Maokai, if it's not switched 5 seconds in. We'll keep an eye on it, but we are going to be heading into our first game quite soon. The coaches get the okie doke. It is now time to step off, and they say good luck to their teams. That is a switch onto the TP for Cris on his Maokai. And let us know who you think is going to start this series with a win. Tweet your predictions at LOL Esports with the hashtag APX win or the hashtag TIP win, and we will tally your responses up and check back in just a few minutes. Apex has the blue side 1-3-5, so pretty much red 2-4. Easy peasy on that, all sorted out. We are going to be getting into game. Pretty sweet picks from both sides to start this one off. Some high tiers and some getters for those fights. Ways to get in, ways to get out. We're going to see who has it first. We're getting into the matchup now. Apex versus Tip. If Apex is able to get this, or Impulse, they are into the LCS.
Yep, definitely going to be pretty interesting. You know, both running kind of double AD carry. You have like a shield type enabler type character. Solo lane Lulu obviously going to have more powerful shields than that support Karma. You know, we've been seeing a lot of support, a lot of Karma mid because the AP ratios got buffed on that mantra.
On her Defiance,
So definitely makes it a lot stronger. But both teams is kind of doing the line of scrimmage thing right now, poking away at each other.
Gold. Oh, the gold. Doesn't get the mantra Q, but he'll be all right. So they back out. Vision is pretty much mirrored around the map. Looks like we may get somewhat of a swap here. It's going to be Gate running himself up towards the blue buff, but it looks like they're all just holding, like you said. Line of scrimmage to start things off. Apex will love this in the early game if things go quietly. Like we said, they are kind of the team to charge. Not a composition that says that all the way, but you'll see how passive it is in the early game as Eve actually gets things started.
Yep. And I'm going to really be interested to watch the top lane. You know, Cris is someone who absolutely was crushing in the Challenger Series. 6.7 KDA in the regular season.
Yeah, he usually does.
Yeah, and Feng is someone who is really struggling throughout his LCS season. He had a 1.7 KDA. He has picked himself into a really good matchup, though. You know, Ekko is supposed to be kind of this Maokai counter, so we'll see if Feng can really get something done here.
He does have the Ekko. We have seen Feng on back and forth champions of the Nautilus being a tank, the Graves trying to be aggressive. We'll see if this suits his style on the Ekko. And Xpecial is trying to be a bit of a nuisance here, moving his way into the jungle. I do not believe he got.
Yeah, he got the little one.
He did. He did get the little one. There's the count. It's going to be on to Eve now, though. Really good aggression to put onto him since he is aggressive early. You trade it back, an eye for an eye in that, and he may not be able to come back as strong. Eve still getting a good amount of his camps throughout the situation, though. You can see Procxin actually only grabbing one of those as they move along with Feng.
Yeah, Xpecial being so annoying, but both Eve and Cris had their flashes forced. The difference being, you know, it was the full bot lane from Tip that didn't invade, whereas it was just Xpecial getting all that work done. So his AD carry was up there getting CS, soaking XP as well. So as a result, you can see they do have to push faster, and he's ahead early on CS over the Lucian.
Cris is going to make his way top as well. So they have a bit of a run on the turret speed. Heading towards the bot side, it's going to be late for Procxin and Feng to make their way all the way there. So we'll see how Apex can move this as they start to open up the map. It does speed things up, kind of contradictory to what I was saying before of how they play, but getting that extra gold for people like Eve and the rest of the map is very, very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see, you know, how these teams really want to play it out. If they want to try to just swap back after one, if they want to try to push for two. There are definitely a number of ways you can do this. But right now, you know, both teams just kind of matching each other, 3 men pushing out, the junglers continuing to farm, and, you know, no real major advantages taken by either side just yet.
And what is it kind of, in both teams' mind, but really from Apex's side, you're looking at a Lulu composition team. Once they get to that point, what is their focus in a fight if they were able to take one against that? Who is their target?
I think with a team like this, you just can kind of go frontline. You can just fight the frontline. You have Ekko as this disruptive force. You have your 2 AD carries doing damage. Your Lulu to keep you alive. You have the Kindred ult as well, the Braum protecting the ADs. So I really think you can just kind of try to take down their frontline. You don't want to dive too deep with a comp like this. And it's kind of the same thing for Apex. It's really going to probably end up in frontline versus frontline unless the Maokai or the Elise can really get a good pick on someone and try to dive on that.
Well, we expected these teams to be very close in play. It may just come out that way. Calling for both of the AD carries on the bot side. Again, kind of extending things here for the laning phase. Even though the turret's going down, they're just going to be farming themselves up. No gold lead yet around the map, and no real pressure was added due to the jungling in the early game. Yeah, the flashes were blown, but we're not really seeing anything come of that just yet. AD carries are actually about to match up, however, towards the top side.
Yep, so I mean, APX did bounce the wave top lane. So the wave is going to be pushing back towards Police, so he will be able to pick up a lot of this farm. And even Xpecial trying to get a wraparound here. We'll see if they can catch him off guard.
Good movement from Procxin, right place, right time. With the turret down, APX still has to reconsider this fight. Focuses on Eve right now. They can call for Xpecial as well. He gets hit without using Exhaust, and that's going to be a kill onto Eve coming in for Impulse, who were instantly towards the top side, reading that one. Mid, however, pushed by Keane.
Yeah, brutal start there for APX. 2 quick kills for Tip.
Yeah.
Able to pick one up both on the mid laner and the jungler. Just a great read, as you said there, by Procxin. Able to be the right place, right time. And, you know, Feng quick on the TP as well.
Could it be for Police? Oh, he's going to be cuffed on this one. Thrown in the back of the car, and he's going downtown. It's going to be this turret as well. Impulse coming in very strong here. Not afraid to pull the trigger early.
Yeah, and that's, honestly, Kindred is one of the last people you want to see all this gold on early. You know, it's going to be able to slingshot him forward to getting that faster Devourer.
Apex is still actually trying to react to what's going on top here with a lot of their resources. Hopefully it pays off for them to get something back. Procxin could be a double buff that goes over to Xpecial or Cris here. It does not look like they'll be able to finalize any kills.
Here comes Keane.
And Keane could finalize this himself. That's actually a flash for him to get in range for this fight, and the double buff's possibly his. And he's turning around to take the minions. They won't be able to get the chase. Even Xpecial tries with one more mantra'd Q. What an aggressive early game for both teams.
Oh, geez, that's such a tilter. I mean, Keane was so close. He's nipping his heels the whole time.
He's like, I just flashed up.
He's like, come on. I earned this. But Keane on the roam just a tiny bit too late and can't finish off Procxin. And Procxin has just got to be laughing his way to the bank. 2 quick kills. He's going to be, as I said, you know, a lot faster up to start stacking that Devourer. Picks up a couple daggers for himself, some boots. And, you know, Tip is off to a great start. They're up you know, 1,500 gold or so already, and they got quite a bit of damage down on that top turret as well.
Ooh, enabling Procxin just turns this guy on. We've seen some decent jungling from him. The 7-6-4 Elise against Cloud9, where he's trying to put up a good game in a tough situation, but other than that, it's kind of average scores here. Seems like you give him a little bit and he takes a mile. We'll see if he can keep it going. It's still very early in the game, but Impulse looked to really keep that fuse lit and keep the advantage going. Feng clearing up a lot in the top lane. Look at actually how low everybody is in CS because of all this fighting. It's kind of like, okay, breathe and build up mode now.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, the CS lead in the bot lane is actually kind of brutal because you look at this massive minion wave pushing in, and before he even gets a single CS, Mash is already up, you know, 12, 13 CS. So he's going to be up around 20 CS this early, and he's kind of, interestingly enough, went for the Swifty boots as well as that call. So I think just kind of try to play aggressively, be able to have those map movements early on, but not something that you ever really see very commonly on a Lucian. You do see this more sometimes on stuff like a Jhin or whatever, people who just feel like they're low mobility, they need it, but not something that you really see too commonly on a Lucian. I'm kind of surprised it's not just like a pickaxe or something to really bully the Jhin.
Very interesting. Maybe it's to get away from all the Xpecial hits if they do match up. I don't know. There could be a million things. We'll ask Mash after if we get the interview with him. 12.5 to 10.8. The 3 kills over here in favor of Impulse. And it looked like Apex would have kind of been the one to take the aggression in those early ganks. Pings down towards the bot light as everybody kind of just wavers on what to do right now. Like I said, it's kind of calm mode after the storm.
Yeah. Apex just trying to kind of recover a little bit here. The blue buff's going to get passed over to Pirean. And so far in the top lane, Feng holding his own, you know, even more than that. He's up a couple CS. The wave is pushing towards Cris, though. And pretty interesting build. The Dark Seal plus the Corrupting Potion is something that people have been talking about a little bit more to get more out of that. Dark Seal is, on its own, not really considered that strong, but I guess just the additional healing and mana that you get with the Corrupting Potion is considered worth it here. So we'll see if he's able to actually snowball that. If he got a Mage Eyes or something, I'd be really surprised because I'm expecting it to be just kind of more the full tank build, but we'll see.
Well, there's a slight TP discrepancy. I don't know if they know that, though. There's 4 on the map, so it's going to be hard to keep control of all those timers. Procxin farming up his jungle. He'll be going back to probably give safety towards the top lane, possibly, as we see Eve moving a little bit towards the mid. He's been quieted down since the early aggression roam, like we said. Mash and Gate, they decided to double roam on that jungle invade, and it seems to have affected Eve a little bit more than it affected Procxin in the end.
Yeah, and in the bot lane, Mash up 40 CS, which is a disgusting lead for 9 minutes in. I mean, yes, Elise is going to pick up some CS here. It's not going to be that bad, but
700 gold lead on his AD carry.
This is what we talked about, and I mean, this kind of showcases the difference between LCS and Challenger, and it's like both of them were kind of near the bottom of the league as far as stats, but Elise was at the bottom of the league against other Challenger players, whereas Mash is playing against people like Wild Turtle and Piglet and Sneaky and stuff. So even if he's a lower tier guy, so far he's matching up very well against Police.
And even with an LCS support as well on his side, I'm not saying it's Xpecial's fault, but it's still very, very hard to be going up against that caliber of play. And to just instill that in somebody, you have to know it from the get-go. And right now we're seeing that take effect for Impulse. Yeah.
And I mean, Keane, doing pretty well for himself in the mid lane. He's 10 CS up. He was a guy who really took a lot of the brunt of the damage for his team. He was putting out most of the damage, had the highest damage share throughout the regular season, and he's someone who his team is going to look to really get work done.
Absolutely, Gate was right. It is kind of about the experience here. We're seeing shine through for these guys. The split-second decisions, and that's really what they were. We've seen most of the map mirrored up until that point where Procxin was able to counter the gank in the top lane. Still keeping their lead and map pressure now. They're able to open a few more things up. It looks like they also have eyes on the bot lane for some action. And even with wards, they're going to waltz on through.
Yeah, and this early advantage has given them the ability to take the early dragon. He already has 9 stacks on his Devourer.
Wow.
That's Procxin. He has 2 bounties early on here as well. He may have actually just picked up his 3rd, but some action here may be happening in the mid lane as we see Eve looking to kind of come around here, and Pirean's kind of got himself trapped.
I will use my spooky ghost to face check a very dangerous situation, says Pirean, and he goes down for it. Feng tries to throw the parallel convergence in. Will he get in with it? He does! The double stun! It saves Procxin, but he still uses the respite. Mash coming in from the side. A lot of flashes used in on this one, so if Apex turns, it may be dirty for Tip, but it doesn't look like Apex gets the chance, and Tip closes in on another great fight.
Yeah, the fact that Tip wins this fight is almost ridiculous. Pirean, I have no idea what he was doing. He saw Keane there, and Eve was actually clearing a pink ward, so he saw him too, and he just kind of walked in between them and got taken out. A really nice Jhin W there, a follow-up from Police. They're able to burst down Pirean, but in the following fight, they're not able to kill Kindred off before he gets the ult down. It's just really strong play from Tip to kind of converge and clean up the rest of that fight.
1-for-1 overall, but it does not allow Apex any ground into the game. It only kind of stalls out the lead Tip had. Let's see it again.
Yeah, so here it is, a nice catch onto Pirean. Feng is TPing in. Keane, gets in there, is able to finish him off, but here comes Procxin, here comes Feng. There's that Kindred ulti. This allows him to get out so much damage, and Procxin actually plays this fight so well. He's at low HP, but look at him. He's getting the autos in constantly for his team. Gate gets in the action. They're able to proc that stun onto Keane, take him down, and Feng with a perfectly timed Ekko ult saves his own skin, gets back out of there last second. So really close fight there for Tip. It could have gone tragic had they not played it so well.
Absolutely.
But Procxin and Feng really shining through in that fight.
Also, it definitely helps to get a little pressure on that mid lane. Keane is up in CS. Also, his Graves is dirty if he does get it going, if he gets that full build. And right now, he's only halfway, or not halfway there, he's only partway there. So keeping him down is going to be very good for Impulse in the long run. Procxin over the wall, using that aggression ferociously right now. 3-0-0, only up a camp or so, but the items are telling his lead.
Yeah, and I mean, Eve knows he has no business fighting Procxin at this point. Procxin is so strong. He already has his 3rd bounty, 14 stacks on that Devourer, and he's setting himself a very fast pace for competitive terms as far as completing that. And that's something that becomes super problematic when you talk about, this is a team that wants to go frontline versus frontline. And when you have a sated Kindred with a lot of bounties hitting away on that Maokai, it's very tough for him. Because of the percent HP damage, it almost doesn't matter how tanky you get.
Will definitely make Chris's job difficult. So far, he's been Maokai. He is not too far behind. He's not amazingly ahead, and he can still be Maokai. He can get into the fights. He's going to be a tanky beast. He is playing it baseline even this game. There, see? They didn't even want to go after him. In the bot lane, Ekko's pretty strong, but still, it's not worth the time to take. 4-1, 14 minutes in, and just that small goldie. Death Dance has been finished on to Keane. He can get a little more aggressive now. Oh, he loves to play And we'll see Impulse now kind of saying, hey, we think we're stronger. Let's pressure this. You want to come fight a little bit?
Yeah, and Tip starting up the Rift Herald, but Apex knows what's going on, and this could signal a fight. Apex kind of just hanging around, looking to see if they can pick up any stragglers, but nothing there for him.
That's exactly the word I was going to use there. Can they find the stragglers? And they cannot, but that shows a few seconds late on these things are not helping Apex find their way back in. But also, Impulse has slowed down. That fight only happened because Apex had pushed themselves in mid, we just saw.
Yeah.
Impulse is kind of letting their advantage just linger. They're not really doing much with it.
Yeah, I think they're confident in their scaling. They're saying, you know, we have the solo lane Lulu, we have a Kindred that is just power farming right now. He has a lot of CS, he has a lot of stacks. Let him keep scaling up, and I think that they're confident going into the late game. So I think that's what they would be saying. You know, and they don't want to rush anything. They've been winning these fights, so they can wait for the opportunities to present themselves.
I guess there's like you said, no real rush. You're only seeing a few items on Police, recipe items on Cris, so they are very much still building up.
Yeah.
Well, you can see Impulse's inventory is already almost there.
Yeah, I mean, when you look across the board, it's like, who's going to kill you in these fights? It really has to be Keane doing a lot of it.
Yeah.
As Police is pretty painfully behind. He has a BF sword to his name. Besides that, you know, at 15 minutes, that's really all his damage. So, you know, this is not something that is a very threatening Jhin yet. When you look at the Essence Reaver already completed here for MASH to just the BF sword. So a lot of the onus is on Keane, but, you know, as Graves, you go this kind of hybrid tanky damage build so you can get in there and really be in the mix, and you're not pumping out tank killing DPS really early on either. If you can get on a squishy, sure, but it's going to be tough to get through the Ekko.
So farm up for Feng in the bot lane. Still 40-some CS here on the bot side for MASH. He keeps that growing. Really not countered too much. Keane has his own 20 CS lead in mid, but he has been taken down recently, so he wants to get his fight back. Looks like, if I can speak, the Maw of Malmortius build will be somewhat next in his recipe as he continues to try and get that damage. We saw this build he used against TLA in the semifinals, and at one point he was 3v1ing, and a fourth person joined, and he had pushed a person off, so if he actually gets to full power, it's going to be crazy. Impulse here to the mid lane. It looks like they won't have any trouble taking this one down. And there's that little bit of muscle flex that they've been waiting to use.
Yeah, Feng, you know, throws down the parallel convergence, zones them off a little bit, threatening to dive. And Keane now here on the side may get caught, tagged by the Q.
He is very, very close. Oh, he stops actually. Winter's Bite is obviously going to lock him down after that. And that's going to be a very, very dead Keane. Impulse finding really what they want when they want it. And it's never one thing. It's been a few follow-up things, which makes it even harder for Apex to find a comeback here. Still anybody's game, but Impulse is kind of signing their name almost already on this one. They are trying very hard to not let Apex get any type of lead.
And damn, Procxin already sated pre-17 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. They're going crazy.
Dude, this is like a solo queue thing, but Keane here gets tagged by the Winner's Bite. You can see the calling coming in, and they flash up onto him, make sure they're proccing it. Even though Lulu all used for the additional CC, they don't want Keane to get away.
Yep.
They secure the kill, and, you know, unless Apex can do something to make them pay for those ults, for those flashes that they use, it's a great pick. And I don't think that Apex is in a position where they can actually, you know, force the fight onto Tip, even without those summoners.
This is a perseverance game. Can Apex wait it out? Because at this point, it's going to be items and soon levels ahead that Impulse is. It's going to be difficult. One thing I did notice watching Apex games, though, through the semifinals and then the finals of playing TDK, is their mid to late game fights are quite organized. Definitely an option for them to get back into this game if they can find a good route, a good hit on the Cocoon and into a Maokai ultimate. Like I said, once they're tanky, it's all about the once there, and that's going to be difficult right now. Yeah,
I mean, Apex definitely far from out of it. They definitely can hang around, and with a comp like, you know, with the Maokai, with the Elise, you can get picks. You know, you have the follow-up as well from the Jhin, so they definitely have a lot of pick potential, and that's going to be what they have to look for, because in a straight-on 5v5, it's going to be very hard for Apex to win against If with this lead.
So, I was going to say they're keeping themselves warded up. They're making sure to keep a few forward wards as well, but right now it's kind of diminishing. This is probably because Impulse has the time to spend in their jungle right now. Oh my gosh. Aggression over the wall. Cris, you can see how tanky he is already. Imagine if they had members. Imagine a few more items. It takes almost the whole team to take him down, and unfortunately it's another straggler fight. And you can't even get Apex reaction off of that.
Yeah, Apex just keeps getting caught, and you know, Tip is not afraid to pull the trigger on these. You know, there are multiple people flashing in and getting on him. You know, Feng started that with a flash right off the bat.
Yeah.
And they're all committing summoners. They know they just need to keep getting these kills, pushing for the objectives. Feng heads down to the bot lane to cover Keane as Tip is going to push in and try to work on this tier 2 tower.
You see the ping mid lane from Pirean. He says, I'm going to get mid push. Let's add extra pressure. They are thinking about everything off the ball right now, and they're going to start running Apex really thin across the map if they can keep this up. 4-1-0 for Procxin. Got to remember back, just really that early counter gank in the top lane. Once the turrets went down, they matched the swap instead of went for the other turret, and it's been paying off.
Yeah, no kidding. And across the board, you can see big ticket items coming in for Tip. You know, we have the Lichbane Spooky Ghost on Lulu. We have the Iceborne Gauntlet finished on Feng. And,
yeah,
you know, a lot of power is building up here.
Just have enough time to take pretty much all the resources on the map easily. Take a breather. Now looking at 6,000 gold in the lead as Impulse continues to slightly pull the trigger in each lane. A bit of pressure towards the top. Got a kill. They're able to push down mid just a bit ago. Very methodical in their movements here. Definitely more organized than what we saw from Impulse coming through the season. Something that, like I said, towards the end, they weren't winning many games. Had trouble switching the roster up in the beginning with Gate playing multiple positions around, which they actually found quite good amount of success in somehow.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't switch him enough, right? Maybe that was the key. They missed out. We'll have to let them know, but you know, Tip has done a fantastic job with the neutral objectives so far. They've taken all the dragons, they've taken all the Rift Heralds, and this is something that, you know, it starts the clock kind of ticking, right? You know, even if you can't push in, even if you can't crack that base, as long as you keep picking up dragons, as long as you keep controlling the neutral objectives, you put the pressure on Apex to start contesting. You know, you get that third dragon, okay, that's fine. Maybe you start getting the fourth dragon, you start getting pretty nervous, right? It's like, when do you fight? And if Tip can dictate when these teams fight, on what terms they fight, they're going to be having a really good time.
That's when the game gets very, very tough, is when you're the defending team and you have to do something. You can't choose to say, yeah, we'll let this go down. You are forced into the fights, and you know you've been pushed up against the wall. It's getting close right now for Apex to that position. Really, the only death on this side is Pirean, and that death actually leaded to somewhat of an advantage for Impulse in the end. So they've been able to work off everything accordingly here, coming up 21 minutes into this game. Feng looking big on the Ekko top. Like we said, he's kind of been back and forth between the tanks and the aggressors, the assassins, and this one's fitting him this game. Yeah, great Ekko play.
He's played a lot of Graves throughout the season. He's been looking really good on this Ekko though. And Tip, you can really see they're starting to prioritize vision around the Baron. You know, it is pretty early in the game, but getting that control always has the threat of it. You know, with a Kindred that's sated with some bounties on him, you have Lichbane Lulu as well as a 2-item Lucian. You know, this is a team that can take neutral objectives very fast. So Apex is always going to have to be a little bit concerned. It's the kind of that like voice in the back of your head, like, you know, oh God, what if they're at Baron? So, you know, Tip doing a good job with that.
Do you think they could? Yes. If you're thinking it, they can. 45 seconds on to Dragon, number 3. Apex, also a team that we may see in this series go for a Dragon 5. They're a team that will work for that. We said they're a team that likes to charge up, and sometimes that is on the plate in those very long games. Here, not so much. Impulse really controlling this one well and haven't even opened a window for Apex to get back in. Haven't found themselves diving too hard, haven't been lackluster, kind of walking around and getting Straggle killed. Doing really well. Straggle killed. It's a new one.
Yeah. One thing that they are kind of messing up a little bit on is there's been this blue ward in the Baron pit for quite some time, and when you're prioritizing vision around a lot, you really need to make sure that there's not, you know, that blue ward just drop deep in the pit, because that gives them kind of the free ticket. They don't have to ever check it as long as that's there.
That's the fuse, though. You go and you poke it, and then they're like, now I wonder.
It's a long con. They're playing it.
Oh, man. Dragon number 3 on the board here. Tip getting quite big, and it's just only a matter of time right here. Apex really needs to survey the game, figure out what went happen. A good composition that they played with coming throughout the season, but not working in their favor this time. Not able to find ground against Impulse. If there was an option at this point, besides waiting, what can Apex look to do?
I think Apex needs to try to get some vision back in their own jungle, try to set up some picks. Try to hope that someone overextends a little bit too far, tries to get deep vision a little bit too far, and just keep getting picks.
Oh. It's very hard to get too far when you're only in the first 10 yards of your jungle. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be tough, but
yeah,
you know, with
sure.
Elise and Maokai, that's what they have. They have lockdown. They got to try to pop someone quick and just take that and then back off, right? But Tip is strangling them out. They're taking that vision. They're walking around in groups. They're making sure that they know even if we run into someone, it's going to be an even number fight. As long as it's an even number fight, they should win.
You almost get that effect as well, because I'm thinking, you know, maybe they can catch Feng out up top, but it's almost like at this point catching a Tom Kench. It's like, how much do we have to use to kill him? He's just going to ult back out. He'll trick us, and he'll get away as slippery as he is. It is definitely getting hard here for Apex. The options are dwindling. Their vision is trying to be kept up at this point. Like you said, that is going to be a huge help if they're able to get one of these cocoons from Eve to hit. Or we haven't even really seen too much of anything from Karma into a Jhin binding. None of that long-range catch. They just haven't had the potential yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like they could get that catch, but do they want it, right? Like, do they want it?
What can you do with it now?
So when you're this far behind, it's tough. It's like, yeah, sure, you can engage on someone, you can catch someone, but they'll just kill you. So that's the really tough part. They need to know where the other team is. They need to know that they have the numbers advantage.
And it's been rough for Eve. Abyssal Scepter goes on that second one. Knows he needs to do some damage, trying to stay alive against this team still. It's been a tough game, and they're doing what they can with the cash that's flowing into their pockets, which not that much at this point. 7,000 gold lead here. Aggression onto Cris as he tries to get a little bit of vision. Could this be Pirean going down? That's the curtain call. The teleport comes in from Feng, and he may just be looking for a fight here. I don't think they're going to be able to route them anyway. Mash was taking a bit to get in, so they take a breather, assess the fight. Nobody goes down there, but Pirean goes quite low and blows his flash.
Yeah, Pirean kind of taking a little stroll through the woods, does get caught out by the cocoon into the Jhin binding that we were talking about. Curtain call gets popped, but they're just not able to have enough damage to take him down. You know, so even though he was out of position, they're able to do it. And look at this, 3 people going over the back of the wall. And is Apex going to suspect this? I don't think so. And we're going to see just how fast this double AD carry plus the Braum takes us down, and that thing is dead.
Whew, you're talking about how big Procxin got this game, and they are absolutely able to shred the neutral objectives left and right. That was that thought. I think they could be doing it. Yes, they are.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling when you're looking around the map. You're like, hey, someone's missing. Could they be a Baron? And then you just hear the sound, and then you see the buff, and you're like, oh no, not like this.
What items? I'm trying to see here. No Locket really even able to kind of be built towards. We see somewhat of the Aegis in the hands of Xpecial there, but he's still got a ways to go after the Crystalline Bracer. Very tough game. The Vision still trying to get out. Usually you would see Eve, maybe if he had more money with Vision of his own, to be helping put out here, but they have been struck for money. And Impulse is coming in very strong. A lot of time off here. They used it wisely. Communication wasn't a huge issue with this team, but it had been mentioned, and it doesn't even seem to be a problem here.
Yeah, and Tip just going to be able to shove these guys back off. And, I mean, you know, Mash is doing a lot of damage to his turret. Here comes Procxin, and you know, next wave, this turret could be going down. Feng at the same time is going to be able to take down the bot lane turret. And we have Pirean pushing top lane as well. So they're just pushing pressure on all across the map. They're getting so much global gold. And, you know, like you talked, Xpecial does not have the gold to get that Aegis, right? And supports are the ones that really start to suffer when your team is this behind, because you count on getting assist gold. You count on getting turret gold, these global objectives, and he's not getting anything.
Oh. Continuing the slow bleed they started just a little bit ago, opening that wound a little bit, and now they're going to go for the inhibitor turrets. Like you said, Mash gets these turrets. He's able to put even a few shots on every time the minions come up. It just shows the confidence they're working with and the lack of confidence Apex has in these fights, and rightfully so. One bad one can be at the end of the game to the option of, can we pull this back? It's going to be incredibly tough if it were to happen, but Apex is kind of on the end of the last string here.
Yeah, I mean, Tip even kind of has all the turret killing items, right? They have rapid fire, can do damage to it. They have the Lich Bane, they have the Iceborne Gauntlet. So, you know, double Sheen items, being able to hit that turret, plus double AD carries and the rapid fire proc. It just allows them to just absolutely crush through these turrets if they do get to them. And Tip is going to play it safe. You know, maybe they could have gone for a dive or something there, but they just picked up so much gold with all those turrets that there's no reason to not just base and spend that gold.
You know, thinking about, whoa, that's the aggression right there. We were waiting for to see from Impulse, and actually waiting to see from Impulse almost all season. In the changes of roster, we kind of lost that. Impulse used to make a name for themselves because of plays like this.
Yeah, and here comes Feng onto Keane, and Keane is probably just going to get run down here. I don't know if he's going to have enough damage to get through Feng.
When you don't have the full build, it doesn't look as great. There's the Malmo Mortius pop. That means he gets the lifeline and the life grip, which is the health. But that's not going to help. The spell vamp really not there either for Graves unless you get a great smoke bomb on. But dang, took him a while to go down, but Impulse just has full control. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I mean, this is looking like the game's just falling completely out of control now. You know, Apex, they were hanging on, but 2 people get picked in the jungle. Keane just kind of way too far up in top lane, and Pirean's able to stroll in, take the bottom inhib, and Tip is looking to, you know, finish this one off pretty quickly here.
Runic Affinity just wearing off. One member there on Impulse is going to have that.
Yeah, and Procxin, you know, cheating over towards the dragon, but here's the play. And Procxin going so aggressively. He knows that Pirean's coming in from behind here. Pirean going to be able to knock up Xpecial. They take him down, and just no chance for even Xpecial to even fight back. You know, the jungle support duo trying to get some vision back for their team, but, you know, Tip says, get out of here. This is our jungle.
Dragon number 4 as well. I don't know if we'll have enough time for a number 5. Impulse really playing this game great, making sure they don't make too many mistakes. Really only one death was the aggression of Apex, and that's the only confidence we've really seen on a mid play. And I guess, as Kate said, we should expect this type of play from an LCS team. This is what they should still be bringing to the table.
Yeah, Feng TPing down there as well. You know, they wanted to make sure that they are going to be able to get this, and will he be able to hold Cris in place long enough for his team to get over there? He has him stunned up, and here comes Mash.
He's got to get his axe out. He's hitting it. It's a dull weapon. Cris not taking too much damage, but he's also low on mana. He can only provide the ultimate for a little bit in the fight. They decide to back. They're actually pretty hurt here on the base with that inhibitor turret down. An open inhib and no Baron coming up for a bit means there's a lot for Impulse to toy with.
Yeah, Impulse is just kind of backing off once again here, but I'm kind of expecting the group 5 can go for that open bot inhib, but you know, we'll see.
Apex pushing back. Just saying, we're not giving you everything. You can take 99.9% of the map.
Yeah.
We still want our own blue.
Yeah, but Procxin still got it. So,
that's
I mean,
so true.
It's tragic, right? I mean, what are you going to do? When you're this far behind, you have to try something. Cris goes for the home guard TP play, tries to catch Procxin. They're trying to, you know, defend something because they knew a lot of the rest of the team had base. So I respect the try. It's not going to work out. But you have to do something, right? You're down like 15K. You can't have a normal fight. You need to catch someone. Someone needs to misplay.
Looks like Impulse. I was going to say it. Apex had time to go into their jungle, but that was Mash just still taking it. They really can't move out too far. One pink ward has been scarily placed just behind blue buff, but you can see the encroaching Impulse wards. It doesn't let Apex do anything without the knowledge going over to Impulse. One more dragon to come up in about 4 or 5 minutes. The Baron will be an easy option for Impulse if they really even wanted to finish the game, and why not? They're doing everything kind of by the book here. They'll probably grab it and do the methodical to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I think you take that bot and hit, then you go up to Baron, you let the wave push in, you just play it by the book, like you said. No need to risk anything. And you can see they're pushing in all the waves.
Yep,
we have
Pirean just coming up.
Yep, Feng pushing in the mid lane as well, so they're just going to slowly move in here, but Tip is a little bit far up for the rest of their team not being here, and Apex is going to gauge.
TP onto the minions. Could be a wild growth to gate, but they actually hang it. He flashes out. Feng's now in the front. Wild growth is held here, and it looks like they actually have a lot to be fighting in this one with. That's going to be Feng going straight in. Double time winder to pull that one back, and Xpecial and Cris. Even Police are just kind of dancing on the outside, trying to find a way in. They cannot get to the front or the back line, and Impulse pushes back Apex in their own base and are now taking the inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, Apex actually fought that pretty admirably, you know, going pretty close to even, only losing their support there. But Tip is just kind of playing it fast and loose, and here's the engage on a Mash.
Whoa, that's going to be the flash twisted route, or twisted advance rather, so he goes all the way in. Cris is still huge in this fight. Ultimate not down, and he gets taken down. Procxin now onto Eve, may have that dash through, but he won't be able to do it, and it looks like Impulse are going to be trying to put the final touches on here as they make their way to the Nexus turrets.
Yeah, Procxin's eyes are getting big. You can tell he knows he's fed. He wants to get some more kills. We'll see if he goes for it.
Wolf's hungry. Wolf wants more. Looks like they're going to get the Nexus turrets out of this one. The smart play over the aggressive and the hungry play to come through here. And it looks like they may not be able to finish off the last and final turret.
Oh,
we'll see if Curtain Call enables anything to happen here. Feng's going to be the one in the back. Looks like he has enough to dive out. And Impulse, not yet, but are trying to end this first game against Apex.
Yeah, and Baron is up, and if you're Apex, you know that that's where they're going next. So,
yep.
I mean, it's not like Apex can even rush it. Keane's dead. There's nothing they can really do besides try to go over here, get a little bit of vision, and basically just pray for a miracle steal. But all Tip has to do at this point, just go sit by Baron, wait for the waves to push in. Once you see people respond, you take the Baron.
Whew. What a fast game to start, and Impulse to kind of just take control of. 34 minutes. Going towards our average time here. But definitely thought it would be going the other way. Much more even as we got to this point. And then that 40-minute fight that means a mid-line of turrets. Now back to Baron. 1:30 on Dragon. So if they even do have troubles here, Dragon 5 also on the plate. That's a forced. And Procxin. I'd say 1v1, but he's got a little bit of help from Pirean over the wall. They're on to Cris now. And look at this. Procxin just destroying the jungler. Full tank Maokai. Almost all the way to that full build, but still able to chunk right through him. He was, like what you said, sated at 17 and has been a monster this game for Impulse.
Yeah, I mean, Procxin just laying in wait, picks off Eve, and then with Pirean able to take down Cris. They were going nowhere, nothing they could do about it. And I mean, the Baron is down. There are just a ridiculous amount, 20,000 gold ahead.
Yeah.
Like, that is just unstoppable amount of gold.
Now it needs to end. We need to end the game. Next one, Impulse needs to make sure they are confident enough to just do that. Obviously, we do see Feng taking Wolves, taking Braum. Okay.
Yeah, I really feel like they're slow playing it like a ridiculous amount. They really should just go end the game, but you know, it could be psychological warfare. Maybe they're just saying, you know,
there you go. You got it. Oh, look at this. The wards really couldn't even be placed for Apex to get up and in. 3 far sites, and they get cleared so fast that it's almost dangerous to try and walk forward. And then Police just runs away. He's like, no, here's a Blossom. Have a good day.
I mean, Cris is trying to get in there and help Eve, but
yeah, I mean, you have to at that point. It's kind of like the everybody going on the bad call, or not everybody going on a semi-good call type of deal.
So Tip just gonna pick up 5th Dragon, insult to injury. And I mean, at some point, they are going to go down and end the game. We'll see, you know, when they do decide to do this. They're playing it so safe.
I promise it's going to happen.
I mean, now Baron buff, they have 5 drag as well. They have an over 20,000 gold lead. And this is the moment for Tip. You know, this is the Doom push that Apex has got to have to try something, but we'll see what they can do.
This is when you need that 10 more minutes. Level 18 for the top 3 on the side of Impulse. Feng, Procxin, and Pirean to 15, 15, 17. It's just an absolute over-level, overpower here. And that's what they're going to do to Apex in their own base. Mash is on the Nexus turrets. The rest of the team is saying, kills! We can get more kills! Squirrel! Where is it? And they're going for it. Now the Nexus is going to be opened up. That's going to be Impulse finally taking game 1 of the series.
Wow. That was a statement game if I've ever seen one. Everyone talking, you know, on social media, everyone talking their predictions. We're saying Apex, Apex, Apex. Apex is going to be the team, the challenger team that crushes through. Right. They're going to make it into the LCS for sure. Tip is saying, no, it's not going to be that easy. And they absolutely destroyed them. They dismantled them.
Coming into this series, definitely looking at Apex as the stronger in that sense. This composition, they keep going back to TL, but it was such a good matchup between them. Is this Graves in the same type of top lane matchup as a tank was their dive.
Yeah.
Before level 6, they used Keane to go up level 4 in the top lane, and they got that same dive that beat them this game when Procxin came to counter. So I actually think that was maybe really good job by Impulse to watch that.
Yeah, they read it really well, and Procxin was in the right place at the right time pretty much the entire game. I mean, you know, Tip only gave up 1 turret. They gave up no neutral objectives. They got every single Rift Herald, every single Baron, every single Dragon, and they just systematically shut Apex out of the game. So, you know, this is a bit of a tough one for Apex, but, you know, they're going to have to bounce back. They're going to have to know that this is a game that got snowballed. You can't worry too much about it.
That's a huge point. I think that's a huge point, Azael, that this was a game you have to look at to say, hey, we messed up in the beginning. There may have been a few chances for us to get back, but the other team did play really well. And Impulse came out very strong. Gate, like I said, maybe right with that. The veteran kind of play style is going to be what really helps us. We're actually going to get a replay here, 32 minutes in the bot lane for that base fight. Let's roll this one. And what was it? Oh, yeah, this is when they came down towards mid, and they just started kind of pushing through. They already had him spread thin, and then it was just the final touches.
Yeah, and here was the engage. Tip was pretty far up. It was basically a 3v5 here, but you're going to see the power of Procxin in this fight. He's just going frontline. Mash and Procxin both working away on that Maokai. Gates trying to get out of there. And you do see the TP coming in, Feng joining up as well, and this is where it all starts to go so wrong for Apex. And you can just watch how aggressively Procxin is able to play in these fights. He basically just doesn't care about anything. He's just running forward into them, knowing he can win these duels.
And this is when kind of you see Eve and Police. They're like, I want to do something. I want to do something from over here. But really, we can just flash away.
Yeah, so, you know, that just really shows exactly how far ahead they were, how strong they were.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of overconfidence there, honestly, from Tip to be in that kind of 3v5 position when they did know exactly where the team is. But they were able to get away with it, right?
Yep.
And they knew their limits. So definitely a really well-played game by them. And, you know, if you're Apex, like, I think it's a little bit scary leaving the Kindred up again, you know, after a game like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those things where maybe they had the right bans, maybe they don't actually need to ban it.
Right.
But it's one of those things where it feels bad, right? You played against this champion, it completely dominated the game, he got ahead early, and then it's kind of that inevitable feeling that the Kindred's going to be there, the Kindred's going to be scaling.
And I thought it would be much different as well because that was Eve's Elise. That's usually very aggressive, very strong. That's why they have Eve there, so he can get up in the jungler's face. And it kind of backfired in that sense. Looking at the rest of the comp for Apex, looking back at the plays for Xpecial, that is the first karma that I'm seeing here, even through the finals and this semifinals versus TLA. So that kind of maybe even kind of stretching the boundaries for them. Obviously, he has played it before and he knows how to play karma, but on the stage, the composition doesn't work out. It's even harder to come back when you're kind of trying something new.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Kindred damage dealt to champions 31,000 that game. Next highest across either team was 15.2 thousand. So he more than doubled the next highest damage dealt and was absolutely dominant that game. Keane, you know, as always, putting out the most damage for his team, you know, really doing some work there. He was kind of the one lane that was kind of doing okay. Everything else was seeming pretty tragic. But, you know, it's like you said, when you pick the Elise, to get aggressive stuff done early, right? And you need to be able to pull off those ganks, get in the face of the Kindred, slow him down from getting sated. But when he got those early kills, he's able to take dragons on cooldown. He's able to take Rift Heralds on cooldown, take all the scuttles. He just gets everything. And you just can't let a sated jungler have that much freedom.
And their vision was up. They were able to keep going through. None of the camps that he had to get for stacks became bad for him. They weren't a trap. Nobody was crying wolf to get him into a bad situation. And looking at that damage, 31,000 in 36 minutes, just a little bit more.
It's pretty nuts.
Grand a minute, man. Like, if there was another few
it's
team
almost
fights,
like the Ball's GP status. I think he hit that 1K mark.
Just absolutely blowing people up. All right, so coming up next, we will see if Apex can tie up the series or if Team Impulse will take a 2-game lead. Stick around. The North American Summer Promotion Tournament continues right after this.
Cris looks like a lion, man. Let's play some Italy.
It's gonna eat me up.
Focus is on Eve right now. They can call for Xpecial as well. He gets hit without using Exhaust. Parallel Convergence in. Will he get in with it? He does! The double stun! It saves Procxin, but he still uses the Respite.
Wait, I'm trying to help you. Skill blade. Maokai. Kill Maokai.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's what they're going to do to Apex in their own base. Mash is on the Nexus turrets. The rest of the team is saying, kills! We can get more kills! Squirrel! Where is it? That's going to be Impulse finally taking game 1 of the series.